Adiyoli Charanam Jai Nandalala. Welcome everyone. So today we are going to speak about our favorite. I said our favorite because he's everybody's favorite, Lord Ganesha. I know it's like everybody loves Lord Ganesha. There's nobody who does not. It's like he starts everything, right? You have to think about him before you start anything. So today we'll give this session to him totally. Yes, of course, little bit Lord Shiva will also enter, and the goddess will also enter, but mainly it's Lord Ganesha. We're going to talk about his 16 names. We always mention these names when we do Archana for him, right? It's called the Shodasa Nama stothram. We always mention that. And what are all those names? We say Sumukaya Namaha, Ekadantaya Namaha, Kapilaya Namaha, Gajakarnakaya Namaha, Lambodharaya Namaha, Vikataya Namaha, Vignarajaya Namaha, Vinayakaya Namaha, Dhumaketave Namaha, Ganadhyakshaya Namaha, Balachandraya Namaha, Gajananaya Namaha, Vakratundaya Namaha, Surpakarnaya Namaha, Herambaya Namaha, Skandapurvajaya Namaha. And these are all the 16 names of Lord Ganesha that we say every time when we do Ganapati Puja. The first thing we offer saying these names. We're all aware of that. Now let's talk about what these names mean. What are they? What does it mean? When we say Sumukaya Namaha, we'll talk about the first one. It says about his face. Mukam is face. Sumukaya means good face. Whenever we see him, it's like all the other gods we go and we like, oh, like that. But when we see God, Lord Ganesha, we're like smiling. We're so happy to see him with all that alangaram and everything in his temple. When he's sitting there and giving us darshan, we're like, we have a smile. That is what the effect of his face is. So it makes us happy. That's the effect. Always happiness, right? That face makes us happy. Now, when we say the slokam, Shuklam Baradaram Vishnu, it's Prasanna Vadanam. There's a line which comes Prasanna Vadanam, right? That is the Sumukaya. Prasanna, happiness. That is why it's there. Prasanna Vadanam. It's confidence, the brightness, everything that is in his face. The Su in Sumukaya means Sumukam, references to Prasannam. And that is why we keep staring at his face. Even if it's an elephant, don't we just keep staring at an elephant? How much ever we have seen an elephant, when we see an elephant in the temple, we have to stay and we have to keep looking at the elephant. We just keep looking at it. How much ever we see it, it's not enough. I guess it's that face, the magic of that face. Just can't get enough. Even a kid, even an adult, even a senior citizen, they will stand and look and stare at the face. Though their whole life they've seen elephants, still that elephant is so fascinating. Don't you agree? So now, do we know that Ganesha did not always have this elephant face? There was one time he had the human face. And we all know the story, how he attained the elephant face, right? So he did have the human face. And you all know that there is a Ganapathy temple which has a human face Ganesha. It's called the Naramukha Ganapathy. So that is like one of the temples which has a Naramukha Ganapathy. And I know we are all not used to seeing a Ganesha without an elephant face. But here he is with a human face. So if you ever want to um, see a Ganesha with a human face, you go to this temple. It's called the Adi Vinayaka temple. And where is this? It's in Tilatai, and the temple is also called Pitru Mukti temple, and it's also called Tilatarpanapuri. And the lingam, the Lord here is called Muktishwaran. That's Lord Shiva. I told you we'll talk about Lord Shiva too, right? So here, people come here to do their Pitru Karyam. Now we know Kashi, Rameshwaram. These are the places people usually go to do their the funeral rites, right? But here also people come to do Pitru Karyam here also. Why? Why did this Thalam get that significance? How did it attain that? There is a story. Now, Lord Rama in Treta Yuga, right? Lord Rama was trying to perform his last rites for his father, King Dasharatha. And every time he prayed and he put those rice balls, the pindam we say, right? The rice balls, we make rice balls when we do the Pitru Karyam, we do that, right? So when he did that, he kept 4 pindams. And then after he prayed, it turned into worms. All the 4 pindams turned into worms. And he did that many times over and over again, but then they turned into worms and he had to do it all over again. So why isn't this being a successful thing now? Who can come to help? He sat and prayed to Lord Shiva. Lord Rama sat and prayed to Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva immediately comes to his rescue and he says, you need to go to this place. Okay, it was called in the Purana, it is called Mandaravanam. Now that is the first name for this place. Lord Rama, as guided by Lord Shiva, came to this place and he performed the Shiva Puja, and he kept as always the 4 pindams. When he kept the 4 pindams, after his prayers, the 4 pindams became 4 lingams. 4 pindams became 4 lingams. And this is why after the puja was successful, King Dasharatha attained mukti, and that is why here the Lord is called Muktishwara. One of the names is Muktishwara, right? So, and here is where the Naramukha Vinayaka is also there in this temple. Now, even today, the devotees come and perform their final rites here, the Pitru Karyam here, and now that is why this place is also called Tilatarpanapuri. Now, til is what? Sesame, right? We do with that, sesame is needed, no, for that ritual. Tila Tarpanam is the rites ritual. Puri is the place. That is why it also got that name. Now, coming back to now those 4 lingams that I told you, which turned to the rice balls turned into 4 lingams, right? That is still here. That is still here in the temple, and you will see that Lord Rama is sitting and performing the final rites, and those 4 lingams are there in front of him, and it's very nice. In this temple, it's still there. Now, coming back to Naramukha Vinayaka, this is how the Lord was. When you see that Naramukha Vinayaka, you'll always want the elephant head back. We're not very, very happy seeing the Naramukha Vinayaka. It is not as usual. It is not the same. I have to tell you that. Anyway, how did he become the elephant face? We all know that. How was he made? How was he created? Goddess Parvati who is Sarva Mangala, right? Auspicious, ever auspicious. She created the boy out of turmeric, which was smeared in her body. She took that turmeric and then she created him through that. And that is why even today we make our first Pillaiyar out of turmeric. Don't we all make that Pidi Pillaiyar first? Because she started it. Sarva Mangale, the Devi herself, the Sarva Mangala Mangalye, the Devi started that, and we are still doing the same thing. We do that for every puja. First, we do that turmeric Pillaiyar, right? Though we have the idol, we have to make that turmeric Pillaiyar first. Our priest will come and make that. Now, Shiva cutting off the head. Everybody have this question. Why did he cut the head? So many have that question. Why? Isn't he the Lord? Isn't he the ultimate? Isn't he? He knows everything. But how did he cut a small boy's head? How did he come to that state where he just cut his head? Didn't he even think? Everybody have that question, right? Everybody have it. He's the Lord. Yes, exactly why he cut off the head. Because he had a reason. And what was the reason? There was this Asura named Gajamukasura. Gajamukasura had an elephant head. He was an Asura who had an elephant head, and his boon that he had asked was only a person with an elephant head and human body can kill me. That was his boon. And he had asked for it. And of course, he was doing so much atrocities and so much of chaos. He gave to all the devas. They couldn't live in peace. Lord Shiva had to come to rescue. And there, they had to put their own son for this cause. And that is where him cutting the head came. And he just created a scene where he had to cut off his head. And then he sent Lord Indra and Nandi in search of a head. And that also, what did they find? They found an elephant head only. Because only that could solve the problem, right? Any other head wouldn't. They said facing north, any head facing north, any creature lying down facing its head towards the north, bring it to me. That was the instruction, and they found the elephant. And they got the head and he fixed it, and there we have the beautiful Lord Ganesha. And then that is when he was able to kill Gajamukasura. Now the head was he was beheaded for the good of all of us, of the world, the universe, to save everybody. Lord Shiva took that step. So yes, the answer to that question, didn't he know? Why didn't he do it? Why did he do it? Is this. He knew, and exactly why he did it. So now he got the elephant head and he became the commander of the troops, Ganapathy, right? The commander in chief, commander of troops. And he killed Gajamukasura. Welfare of the world. The Lord did this for the welfare of the world. Now, again, coming to Sumukar is a good mouth. He's a Vidwan. Ganesha is the biggest Vidwan. Intellect. Knows everything. He is no different from any scholar. Now, Mukam also means mouth. Have you seen an elephant's mouth? You can't really see it because the trunk is like closing the mouth, right? It comes in front, so you can't really see it. It's under here. That is another message. The Lord has that kind of a face is because being such a good intellectual, being a vidwan, being so great, that if we put our hand on our nose and mouth like this is how an elephant is, right? But we have to do this to look like that. And what does this signal mean? What does this mean? Aren't we all wearing masks now? Literally. This is how we look like. What does it mean to be humble, to talk less? We have to do it with our hand, literally, but it's like that is being humble, always modest. Now that is how the Lord is. Though he is a big vidwan, so knowledgeable, intellectual, he's humble. He's giving us a message: talk less, don't brag. You may know a lot, but talk less. You don't have to let the whole world know you know a lot. Isn't he telling us that? That is the message. So that is why elephant face is not just like that. It didn't happen just like that. That is a big message to it. That elephant face had so much message in it. Sumukar means so many things, right? So we have to talk less. Now, Ekadantar, second one. I explained what is Sumukar. Now next is Ekadantar. Ekadantar means what? Dantar is tusk, tooth. Ekadantar is one tusk, single tusk. Now, usually male elephants, this is in Asian elephants, male elephants have two tusks. And females usually have no tusk. So Pillaiyar, on the other hand, he's a male, but he has only one tusk. Ekadantar, one tusk. He also had two. Same. Once he had the human face, now it's elephant face. Once he had two tusks, now it's one tusk. Now, why is he having one tusk? Now he broke the right tusk with his right hand. There are two stories to it. One is that he wrote the Mahabharatam with it. He wrote the epic Mahabharatam with that tusk. Now he broke it again, for us, welfare of the humanity, of all of us. Right? For our welfare. Now he broke that tusk and he gave us that beautiful epic Mahabharata. Vyasa was narrating. Vyasa was looking for a good person to write. And Lord Shiva suggested Ganesha would do it. Now Ganesha said, yeah, I'll do it. It's a funny thing about him. I'll do it. But if you pause at any point, then I'm stopping. I don't want to write, he said. If you pause anywhere, I can't sit and write. It's like very time conscious, no? It's like if you pause anywhere, I'm not writing, I'll leave. So Vyasa was thinking, he's also very intelligent, right? So Vyasa said, I agree, I will not pause. But then you can't blindly write. You have to think about what I said and you have to write, he said. Now he buys time that way, right? Both are very good, right? It's like you have to think what you're writing. So Ganesha says, okay. And now his pace slowed down. He was so fast. So to write the Mahabharatam, he had the tusk. Now another story says he broke the tusk to kill Gajamukasuran. So that again for us, for the world. He broke the tusk for us. Now he is the symbol of Godhead. He has the male and female aspect now because just like his parents, right? Ardhanarishwarar. Now, what is the difference between Ardhanarishwarar and Ganesha? Now, Ganesha, his right side, the no tusk side is the female side. It's a very beautiful thing, actually. We all have to know this. It is there in our Puranas. The right side of Ganesha is the female side, and the left side, the tusk side, which has the tusk, is the male side. Now, for Ardhanarishwara, it's the opposite. The male form is on the right side, and the female form is on the left side for Ardhanarishwara. It's exactly opposite of Lord Ganesha. It's a nice way to remember, though. So he shares that aspect with his parents. Now, every god has a Gayatri Mantram for them. In the Mahanarayana Upanishad, there's a Gayatri Mantram for every lord. There's a Paramashiva, for Vigneshwara, Subramanya, Nandikeshwara. Everybody have a Gayatri Mantra. It says Tat Purushaya. It starts that way. Tat Purushaya Vitmahe. Right? Now for Vakratundaya Dhimahi Tanno Dandi Prachodayad is for Ganesha. But there is a special Gayatri Mantram in the Atharva Veda for Ganesha, especially for Vigneshwara. Why? Because he broke his tusk. He sacrificed his tusk. And it starts by Ekadantaya Vitmahe. Vakratundaya Dhimahi Tanno Dandi Prachodayad. Ekadantaya. That is how it starts. And it's a special Gayatri Mantram for him. Third name, Kapilar. Kapilaya Namaha. Now, kapilar means it's a dull red color. It's kind of like on a black surface, if red color is poured, how does it look? That kind of color. So now when we say this slokam, right? Shuklam Bharadaram Vishnum Shashi Varnam Chaturbhujam. Shashi Varnam is what? White. The sloka actually denotes that he is white in color. Okay. Avayar. Now, what is the color of Ganesha? We're trying to understand that. He's called Kapilar for a reason. So let's understand why. That's why I'm going around like this, okay? So there is a slokam where it says Shashi Varnam. He's white. Avayar, we know Avayar is the biggest devotee. She has seen Ganesha many times. He has come in many forms and shown his form to her. Now, he has shown me his form in my dream, if you've read my book. Light pink. So here, Avayar has stated that he's blue. And another stothram, she has said he's coral. That's kind of like what I saw, right? Coral. Light coral is my color, the color I saw him, but Avayar has seen him in coral also. In northern India, he's in red color, sindoor, right? We have seen that. Siddhi Vinayaka is that color, red sindoor color. But in there is a temple in Tiruvarur district, Ganapatheeshwaram. Okay, it's in Tiruchengattan is the name of the place. Sengadu is red forest. Sengadu means red forest. Kadu is forest. Sen is red. So when Vigneshwara killed Gajamukasura, the whole Asura's blood flowed like a river on that forest. That is exactly the color that I was telling you, over black, when red goes over black. And that is the color what I was talking about, the kapilar. Now, after killing the Gajamukasura, he wanted to get rid of the dosha. Now, we all know that even gods cannot escape. Gods cannot escape. Even Rama came to Rameshwaram to get rid of the dosham. So he also came here, installed a lingam in Tiruchengatangudi, did Shiva Pujai for his father, and got rid of the dosham. Now, the temple, after he installed the lingam, came to be known as Ganapatheeshwaram, because Ganapati came and performed the puja there. It's called Ganapatheeshwaram. It's also called Uttara Pasupatishwaram. And the Ambal here is called Shulikambal. Though it's a Shiva temple, the prominence is for the Ganapati here, the Pillaiyar here. Now, who is the Pillaiyar here? That is the key note here. The Pillaiyar here is the Vatapi Ganapathy. Very famous because Muthuswami Dikshitar came here and sang that song, Vatapi Ganapathy. He sang to this Pillaiyar. We all know that song, don't we? Vatapi Ganapathim Bhajegam. Beautiful song. He actually composed it here in front of this Ganesha. Who brought this Pillaiyar here? There's a story. Who brought this Pillaiyar here? There is a Nayanar. We go back to our Nayanar. He's called the Siru Thondar Nayanar. First, he came to be known as Siru Thondar Nayanar later, but in his early years, he used to be called as Paranjoti, was his name. And he was from the Chola kingdom. He used to be a general, commander-in-chief of the Chola army, this Paranjoti. Now, he was from this place, Tiruchengatangudi. And Tiruchengatangudi was a part of the Chola kingdom. And the Chola king was in love with this commander-in-chief because wherever he went for war, he used to win it. He was in so much control that every war he went, he used to win it. And something similar, he went to one of the wars, and he brought this Vatapi Ganapathy with him. Vatapi is the name of the place, and it was under the Chalukya kingdom. And he went for a war against the Chalukyas and won it. Before he went for that war, he actually prayed to this Vatapi Ganapathy and went to the war. And after winning it, he brought the Vatapi Ganapathy and named him Vatapi because he's from that place. That is how the Vatapi Ganapathy got the name. Now, he brought a lot of riches and gold and everything, from that kingdom, wherever he won. And then he came and put on the king's feet, the Chola king. Chola king was so happy. And after he left, the minister, the king's minister, says, he wins every war because he's such a big devotee. He's a big devotee of Lord Shiva, he says. Yes, he was a big devotee of Lord Shiva. Paranjoti was a big devotee of Lord Shiva. And he always wanted to attain the Lord's feet. He wanted to give up on all the, he was not attached to any of this loot that he brought back with him after he wins any war. He was just very simple. He was doing his duty. According to him, he's working for his Raja. He's a commander in chief. He does his duty. He goes back home. That's it. Very simple. Now, the minister says he's a very big devotee of Lord Shiva, and that's why he's winning all the wars. Now, the king was astonished. It's like, is he? Is he a big devotee of Lord Shiva? I'm also a big devotee of Lord Shiva. I feel terrible. I'm making another devotee go and shed blood, he says. Says, I feel very guilty. Am I compelling him to do it? I feel I'm compelling him to do it. I feel I'm driving him into this. I should not do this. So he calls him to the kingdom, to the palace, and he apologized to Paranjoti. He says, "You won all my wars. You're a treasure for this kingdom. But I feel terrible that you're shedding blood, being the Lord's devotee. You're such a big devotee, I heard." So Paranjoti says, "Yes, that's my ultimate goal, is to just perform and do worship to the Lord after I do this duty. This is going to be my last journey." So the king says, "You know what? I'm going to let you go. I'm going to let you go with full heart, full heartedly, with lot of happiness. I'm not like, it's not like I'm firing you, but I'm letting you go so that you can perform your worship. I don't want a Shiva Bhakta shedding blood. I don't want to take that sin on me. So you go and you do whatever your heart wishes." And he floods him with gifts and all that he needs, He doesn't have to earn now. The king provides him with whatever he needs so that he can peacefully lead his life worshipping the Lord. Now, Paranjoti was very happy. He said, "Okay," and he immediately took that offer. And he came to his house, and he informed his wife and his kid that he's going to be home. And they were all happy. Now he's fully engaged in Shiva Puja, Shiva's worship. And he started serving Shiva Bhaktas. Now, how did he do that? Every day he would feed Shiva Bhaktas before he ate. He will never touch food before feeding a Shiva Bhakta. That is his prayer every day. That was his service every day. He would feed a Bhakta and only eat, and Shiva Bhakta, and only then eat. Now, that was going on. One fine day, of course, the Lord has to test his devotee, right? When he's so good, the Lord has to test. Now, people think, why should the Lord test? You know why the Lord tests? Not to give the devotee any trouble, to show off his devotee. Like the whole world has to know. He's like showing him off. He's so proud. Now you see, when I do this, you see what my devotee will do, kind of thing. Through that episode, he's showing off his devotee. Learn from my devotee, kind of thing. It's a beautiful thing, like a parent, right? It's like you let your kid dance in front of others or perform his magic or show whatever he's good at in front of others. You're so proud. Like, see my son, see my daughter. It's not like a test. You tell everybody, oh, he dances very well. You should see. It's not like that kind of a test, right? It's not like putting them in a spot. But you're so proud of them. You want everybody to know. That moment had come. That moment had come when he wanted the whole world to know. Who wanted? The Lord wanted the whole world to know what his devotee is doing, about his greatness. So yeah, he comes disguised as Shiva Yogi, as always, smeared with ashes all over his body, Rudraksha Mala, handsome as ever, comes and knocks on the door of, yes, and Paranjoti, his name became Siru Thondar Nayanar. And why is that? Because he started serving all his Shiva Bhaktas, right? So Shiva Thondar means small servant, servant of the Lord. Small servant. Even that, no, he's like so humble. He doesn't say servant, he says small servant. So the Lord is here outside Siru Thondar Nayanar's door. He knocks, and the servant, he has a servant because, he's commander in chief one time, and he has servants and everything in his house. And the servant comes and opens the door, the maid, and she immediately recognizes that it's a Shiva Bhakta because it's not new in their house. Shiva Bhaktas come, eat, and go. So she immediately does namaskaram and she says, please come in. And he says, where is Siva Thondar? He asks. So he says, he's gone out in search of a Shiva Bhakta. He will not eat anything till he feeds at least one Shiva Bhakta. So he says, okay. So she says, why don't you come in? She's thinking, oh my God, what if the, you know, my boss does not find a Shiva Bhakta and even this man left, I'll be in trouble. Let me call him and have him seated inside. So she says, can you please come in and sit down? He'll come back. So he says, no, I will not enter a house where there's only a woman inside. He says, I'm not going to enter. There's no man in the house, so I'm not going to enter. So she says, no, my madam is also there. Siru Thondar's wife is there. So she comes running, she hears this and she comes running and she says, please come inside and request him to sit. And she says, no, I don't want to enter when the man is not in the house. Tell Siru Thondar I am going to be outside the temple. I'll wait under the tree. I'll sit there. I'll be meditating. He can come and get me. And he leaves. As soon as he leaves, Siru Thondar is back. He's very upset and disappointed because he could not find any Shiva Bhakta that day. Usually does. He at least finds 2 or 3. That day, he couldn't find even one. And it was very late. He comes home very disappointed with a sad face. And these two are waiting for him. Who, the maid and the wife, both of them are waiting for him. And they both tell him that there was a yogi who came, asked for you, but he did not want to come inside. And he said he'll be waiting in the temple. Siru Thondar immediately ran from there. Said, I'll bring him. Keep everything ready. The food and everything. I'll bring him. And he ran to the temple. And there he sees this beautiful man sitting and meditating. Very majestic, very powerful, very so much of power, but at the same time, the calmness in his face. Immediately goes and falls in his feet. And he says, you came in search of me. I'm so blessed. It's like the Lord himself sent you because today I didn't find anybody. And here you are. Come with me, come with me. I'll serve you to the fullest. Today is your day. And instead of being happy, the yogi looks at him and he's like, hmm, is it so? You know something? You cannot satisfy my wants, he says. I doubt, I doubt that you can satisfy my want. And Siru Thondar is like disappointed. He's like, why you say that? Try asking whatever you want. I'll do it for you. Then he says, no, I don't believe you can do it. I think you should just leave me alone and go back. That's the best thing for you. Sri Thondar is like, no, it's not happening because, like I said, you're God sent, and whatever your want is, I am going to fulfill it today. Please go ahead and tell me what you want. So he says, okay, in that case, every once in 6 months, I have a habit of eating fresh meat of a pashu, he says. And that time has come now. But I doubt whether you can do this for me, he says. And he stops saying, no, carry on. Pashu is easily available. Pashu I can get. Tell me. Now the word pashu is very tricky. The word pashu is usually people think it's animal, but pashu can mean a human being also. Pashu is both animal and human. Everything is pashu. But he immediately thought it's animal, and he said, yeah, pashu can be arranged. So the yogi says, yeah, it can be arranged. Okay, let me tell you the exact description, he says. Yeah, okay, go ahead. Okay, the pashu should be a 5-year-old child. Should be very healthy. And it should be the only son of the parents. Such a boy must be cooked and served for me. Oh, Siru Thondar did not, he was shocked, but then he was so into trying to fulfill what this yogi wanted that he was thinking in his mind, how do I fulfill what he asked for? How do I find a boy of this description? Is what is running in his mind. And then he suddenly realized that he had a son who's 5 years old. He himself has a son who's 5 years old. And quietly, without saying anything, he just says, Swami, you come home, I will fulfill your want. He did not tell him he had a son. He did not tell him anything. He says, Swami, you come home, I will fulfill your want. That is the height of surrender, devotion, bhakti. I have no words. And why do you think he got the Nayanar certificate? Because of that. Because of this exactly. And he goes, he brings the yogi home, sits him down. All due respect, he goes and tells his wife. His wife also agreed. His wife happily agreed. Now that is why she's also, attained the. That is why the Lord picked them to be specific for this test. Don't you think? I mean, he said, I want to show the whole world what they are. Now, a lot of people will say, oh my God, I couldn't have done this. I could not have done this. Well, the Lord didn't pick you. The Lord didn't pick you. Don't bother. The Lord has picked them for a reason. Now, as soon as the boy returned, he was somewhere outside. He returned home. The mother placed him on the lap, and the father, Siru Thondar Nayanar, brought a knife and cut the boy's throat without even thinking. He just uttered Om Namah Shivaya and cut his throat. That can be done only with detachment because he thought that boy was not his. He did it because he knew that the boy belonged to the Lord anyway. There's a lot of things we have to learn from this. And the biggest the lesson is detachment. And the boy was cooked and the meal was served. They served the meal to the yogi, and the yogi is sitting there. Like the banana leaf, everything is served. Then he asks, well, I will start eating only on one condition, he says. Siru Thondar, you also sit and eat with me. Now that's another thing. Knowing that it's his own boy, his son, he has to sit and eat quietly. No word. He comes, sits, and joins. When he sits to eat, the yogi says, I have another condition. I thought you said you have a son, right? How old is he? Bring him. He also has to sit and eat with us, he says. Now Siru Thondar was caught. He looks at him and he says, Swami, he is not in a position to come right now. Please excuse him and we will eat. And he said, no, 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 that's the condition. Only if he comes, I will eat. No, he can't come now, he said. No, you go outside and call him. He said. You go outside and call out him. He will come. So much confidence. Again, Siru Thondar Nayanar, instead of arguing or telling him anything, he goes outside and calls out to him. Another thing to learn from him, surrender. He just listened. How many of us listen? He just listened to those instructions. He went outside and called out to him. Siralan, please come. The Swami wants to eat with you. He calls out. And his boy Siralan comes running from somewhere. Appa, you called me. And he has tears running down his cheeks when he saw his son. His mother's coming running, and because she heard her son. She runs and she hugs him. And they both are like having this moment. All the three of them are having the moment. And then they turn back to see the yogi, and he's gone. He's disappeared. He's not there anymore. The meat is gone in the plate, the leaf. There is no food. The yogi is gone. So that's when they realize this whole play was beautifully enacted by the Lord. And before they could digest that fact, the Lord Himself came and gave them a darshan along with Devi Parvati. Both of them with Nandi came there and took them all with them. They attained mukti. They went, all of them went to Kailasham with the Lord. Isn't that something? It's like shows you what actual surrender is, actual detachment is, what bhakti is. You can't, even this story is like a little tough for some people who have attachments. They'd be like, oh my God, I can't take it. And that is when that, question comes among, I could not have done this. But then nobody thinks that the God will not come and ask you this. You have to be blessed to be that Siru Thondar Nayanar because only he was asked to do this. Because the Lord knows he would do it. He wanted us to know. He wanted us to see what a devotee is capable of doing. What Siru Thondar Nayanar was capable of doing. He wanted us to know this and learn from it certain lessons. God is not cruel. In the end, he gave him back his child, but at the same time took all of them with him also. They all attained mukti. That's the place we all want to be in the end. Who wants to come back to earth again? Hmm? Want another life? Some of us feel we belong here. So this is the actual reality. I want to share with you an incident, Sri Amma, on their power, on her power. Like one time, I don't have this in my book. I don't know how this incident I've not mentioned in my book. Obviously, I know because she didn't want it. But it was, I think, 2010 or 11, something like that. When Dave was really, my younger one was very young. He was 1.5 or something like that, 1.5 years old. And he used to fall sick a lot. He used to get asthma and all that very frequently. I think this was before he was one. That time, Ambal had given a jabam for my husband. Um, and that jabam involves that in the morning, when before his jabam, he should not talk to anybody. So he had to be maunam until he finished the jabam. So even if it is like 4 a.m. or 3 a.m. in the morning, he can't talk until he finishes that day's jabam. He can't talk. So many times the younger one would fall sick, and then I was the only parent who was like literally taking care of him. So it was so much of stress on me that I went and told Amma that, Amma, it's really getting so difficult for me because Siva Ganesh is not talking, he's silent, and I have to take care of this baby all by myself. It gets very stressful making decisions alone at that time, that is in the middle of the night or early hours in the morning. It's difficult just doing this alone. Is there any way you can give him a break at these times? I said. And she said, உனக்கு இப்போ என்ன வேணும்? உனக்கு அந்த குழந்தைக்கு உடம்பு சரியில்லைன்னா கஷ்டம் வருது. She said, so what do you want? You're having a problem when the child is falling sick, correct? And I said, yes. அது ஆகாம நான் பார்த்துக்கிறேன். I will make sure that does not happen. Think about that. No doctor can say that. No doctor can say, I will make sure the child does not fall sick. He'll only give you a medicine if he falls sick. She said, அந்த நாள், that is the days he has the jabam, I will make sure he doesn't fall sick. I mean, I wanted to share this with you all because this is her power. It's not something, it's not a joke. This is really, and she made it happen. After that, I've never had that problem. She gave that word and she stuck by it. Her word is so, it's like embossed, it'll never go away. She gives a word, she sticks to it. Who can say that except for Akilandeshwari, the ruler? Who can say that? I was stunned when I heard it. I was stunned. I was like, whoa, I never expected that. I never expected that. I was like, really? She shows her power. She says things. She says it so casually, though. When she says it so casually, and then we come back and we're like, wow, that's powerful. And she sticks to it. He never fell sick after that, on those days. Our mother, she's so powerful. Madhiyoli Charanam Jai Nandalala.